Hello and welcome to the SAP Ariba Contract Management demonstration. I'll start off with a quick, brief overview. Notice I'm currently looking at my user's dashboard. Dashboards are highly configurable by administrators per persona within the customer deployment, and end users can actually move things around, add things to their dashboard to heart's content. Immediate visibility to everything that's relevant and pertinent for the user, and highly configurable by the end user. If I click on this wrench, I can add content, edit the properties of my dashboard, etc. Let's drill into a contract to see how it's managed. I'll just scroll down, look at my watched projects, and we'll look at this MSA for services. We're now looking at the representation of this contract. Notice the workflow, documents, overview of the contract are all represented distinctly and separately. The term attributes such as the effective and expiration date, who will be notified when the contract's going to expire, which might be separate and distinct from the notice date, and who might be advised when we need to give notice to the other party. We can see this workflow, which is highly configurable based upon contract type, buy side, sell side, and different gradations within the different types of contracts. Here we can see this contract was negotiated with a counterparty. As I drill in, I can see all of the banter that went back and forth between the parties. I can look at that in a threaded or chronological view, just as you can with an Outlook and other email programs. We can see what's occurred every step of the way, kindly review all the way through completed, and I can open up any version of the contract as I look at the negotiation history. Heading back up, if we take a look at the contract workflow, drill into the approval task. This is where a new round can be initiated. We can go ahead and publish the contract. And as I scroll down and look at the approval flow, I actually, my name's Adam, I live within all of these different teams, but we can see that based upon conditional logic, in this case, the default approver is always there. Legal in this case was pulled in because of substitution with a specific clause. A research director because it's that type of contract. Area VP because it's above 500K. CFO because it's above $1 million. Delegation of authority and other conditional approvals based upon templating or ad hoc capabilities. If we take a look at the contract itself and look at its details, we can quickly see a system view of this contract. We can see what clauses are negotiated away from standard language. We can easily click and drill into the clause library. With a click of this alternate icon, I'm now looking at the clause library where I can select an alternate clause during negotiation and create a comment internally or send a comment to the counterparty as I negotiate. Here's a complete version history. Every move that was made by our side and their side, the changes that were made. And at any point in time, I can choose to do a comparison, a side-by-side comparison. Of course, the contract has the capability to be electronically signed via our out-of-the-box integration with DocuSign or Adobe eSign. We can see that this is actually a completed signed agreement. Let's take a look at how we can search across the repository. I'm going to head back up to my dashboard. In this case, I'll click on the Gartner icon. It takes me right back up to my dashboard, and let's go ahead and take a quick look at how easy it is to search across the repository. I'm going to click on this hierarchical search example, and as I'm taken to the search results, I can see the nesting of parent-child agreements. No limit to the depth that these hierarchies can go. I can have an MSA with SOWs that have grandchild, great-great-grandchild documents within them. Highly searchable, reportable, and configurable. Take a look at one of our exciting new innovations, enhanced contract authoring. With enhanced authoring, we've done away with the deep Microsoft Word integration that tended to require a bit more unwieldy administration and in some cases was prone to errors. This does away with all of the bookmarking and other word-based issues and allows for a simple, convenient drag and drop capability. Here we see a simple NDA represented by this contract workspace. If I go ahead and look at the details of the document, notice in the upper left the ability to drag and drop a file. We'll also see this drag and drop capability across other areas of the solution, such as sourcing and supplier management. I'll go ahead and pull up a version that was negotiated by the counterparty, drag it, drop it. The solution will now do clause level reconciliation. And now we can see the system says that a new document's been uploaded. What would we like to do? Let's go ahead and review those changes. The system provides a detailed red line view. We can go ahead and process those changes. And now we can see the non-standard clauses, potentially pull clauses in from the clause library. Nice and simple. Take a look at another exciting innovation. We call this combined spend. This is where a contract provides visibility to all of the detailed spend that's occurring within it if Ariba's procurement solutions are in play. Here we can see the contract has some pricing terms, compliance terms, and if we expand to a more detailed view of this contract, it has a new tab, the Spend tab. As I navigate to the Spend tab, I can see a summary, what's been approved, what's available, the maximum spend, what's been spent against the contract, as well as the total spend against that contract. I can see individual transactions, invoices occurring against the agreement in this case. Right, let's take a quick look at Ariba's capability to drive a sourcing award complete with detailed pricing terms over to a contract object. Here we're looking at the overview for an RFP. I'll look at the content of the RFP, and we can see there were some very detailed pricing terms that were awarded. If I head over to the Award tab, we can see this was a single source 100% allocation to a supplier. I can click the contract button and choose to create a new agreement or add this to an existing contract as new payment terms, new business terms. Let's go ahead and create a new contract quickly. This will drive us to the contract creation screen. Once I select my supplier, it might have been a split award and I would choose which supplier. We'll do a procurement contract. I'm going to quickly fill in the mandatory fields. And now we can see all of the information filled out. This is where we'd have the option to do combined spend as we saw in the previous scenario and have that roll up. Here's our external system integration, which we'll get into in a moment. And here I can just answer some quick questions through the contracting wizard. The answers to these questions would potentially include, omit, or substitute language terms, as well as drive workflow and other conditions. Now we'll go ahead and create our contract. And when I do, it's going to ask if we'd like to create a line items document or an Excel attachment. We'll go ahead and do the line item document. And now we will see all of those detailed lines driven to the contract. Here we are at the resulting contract record. And as I scroll down, we can see all of these pricing terms. And I could head in and do some further edits. All right, let's have a quick look at external system integration. Here we can see an area within the contract workspace for those integrated fields. I'll go ahead and edit this so we can get in and see where this would occur. And for example, here we can see which external system for data integration. It can be a source from master data, or we can push to that system. And here we can see some of those master data fields, including what type of document, such as an ERP outline agreement or purchase order, might be created, and a category for that document. And based upon how the configuration is set up, we can drive that integration automatically for the customer. Here we see an example of multi-level service master integration. So within a contract workspace, currently setting up some multi-level services here for car washing services. We can go to any level of depth here, and we'll go ahead and publish this. Now we can see these car wash services have car wash detail services nested within them. And if I were to go ahead and publish this, it will push them to the back-end system. This would also work with the flatter material line item integration as well. And if we go ahead here, we can send it to the external ERP system. Here's another exciting innovation, our commodity price escalation. Here in the back end of Ariba, we've set up aluminum, and it's being updated, as you can see, by the market designated LME. That's the London Metal Exchange. That'll be used as a master data integration point to update the pricing. Now that aluminum's been set up in Ariba, we can visit a contract where aluminum is a raw material used in a specific component. So I'll go ahead and drill into the handle. Since this is an aluminum handle, we can head in and we're going to pull up this commodity escalation clause. We're going to look up, since aluminum was just set up, here's our escalation clause that we're pulling in. And we can even add formulas to the solution. And so let's go ahead and quickly build a formula where we can say that the price of the handle actually is going to have a derived factor of the commodity price from that London Metal Exchange, and that can be updated based upon the seasonal price changes that we see to that commodity. Furthermore, another exciting innovation, our risk integration. Here we can see this is a contract. We're looking at the contract's attributes. I can see the overall risk based upon the supplier's risk score, as well as the specific subsets of risk, complete with color coding and a risk rating. Let's take a look at our simplified contracting process with this NDA example. I'm going to start off by creating a quick NDA template. I can drag and drop or browse for a document. Go ahead and add that in. We'll give it a name, Gartner NDA for this point. All right, that's ready to go. Now I'll go ahead and set up my recipient. Who am I going to send this NDA to? Who I'm going to send it to. I can choose the email address of who's going to receive this. It'll go straight out for e-signature. I'll do a 1-year term. We'll go ahead and select the proper document. We can give it a name on the fly. And send that right out for signature. Of course, once a default template's been created, no need to worry about that, and users wouldn't need to worry. They can just choose they need an NDA, be guided through a wizard-driven process. Here, let's go ahead and view the status of it. We can see the NDA. All of the proper metadata has been inserted into the document. And now, if we toggle over and view this from the other party's perspective, we're ready to go ahead and sign that via DocuSign through email. Thanks for taking the time to view the demonstration.